Hello, my name's Phil Andrew and I'm the Archdeacon of Cheltenham. I wonder during lockdown whether, like me, you've had lots of Zoom meetings. And if you have, whether you've experimented with different backgrounds, like the one I've got on behind me. I'll explain this photo that I took some years ago in a moment. But in our Gospel reading from Matthew chapter 10, the end of Matthew chapter 10 for Sunday the 28th of June, Jesus says something that sounds a little strange. He says to his disciples, if anyone receives you or anyone welcomes you, then they receive me, they welcome me. And if anyone welcomes or receives me, they receive my Father, the one who sent me. Jesus, I think, is saying to his disciples that how we relate to each other has an enormous impact on how we relate to God. Quite a lot of the Bible talks in the same sort of way. In one of his letters, John says that if we claim to love God but hate our brother or sister, then we're lying, because you can't love God unless you love other people. Jesus in Luke tells a similar story, a story to a man who asks Jesus about the importance of loving God with all your heart, soul, mind and strength, and loving your neighbour as yourself. And the man asks Jesus this question, so if I'm going to do that, who is my neighbour? And Jesus tells the story of the Good Samaritan. You've probably heard it already. And that's where my background comes in, because this is the picture I took a few years ago when I went to stay with a friend in Jerusalem. And it's a picture of the road from Jerusalem down to Jericho. It's a very dry and dusty road. And this is how the story goes. There was once a man travelling from Jerusalem to Jericho. On the way, he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes and his money, beat him, and left him half dead by the side of the road. Luckily, a priest happened to be going down the same road. But when he saw the man lying there, he crossed to the other side of the road and passed him by. Then a temple assistant saw him lying there as he passed along the same road, but he also passed by on the other side. Then a Samaritan came along. Jews and Samaritans didn't used to talk to each other, let alone help each other. But when he saw the man's condition, his heart went out to him. Kneeling beside him, the Samaritan cleaned his wounds and bandaged them. Then he lifted him onto his donkey and helped him and took him to an inn where he took care of him. In the morning, he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper. Take good care of him, he said. If it costs any more, put it on my bill. I'll pay you on my way back. And when Jesus had told that story, he said, that's the way to be a good neighbour, to love your neighbour as yourself, and to grow in loving God.